So in the scorching heat of the sun, when all the birds, when all the famous birds, celebrated birds, take rest in the cooling shade of trees, and when it seems that the music of earth becomes silence, this music actually is not silent, and this is justified. This is exemplified by Keats in the voice of the grasshopper. A voice will run, a sound will run, a song will run from hedge to hedge, from wild bushes to wild bushes, about the new moon made, about near the new moon made, near the freshly cut meadows, grass covered field. That is the grasshopper. That is the grasshopper. So this voice, it is the voice of the grasshopper. It is the voice of the grasshopper. That is the grasshopper. This is the voice of the grasshopper. So this voice, that is the grasshopper. This is the voice of the grasshopper. He takes lead. He takes the leading role. He is the lead singer in summer's luxury, in summer's abundance, in summer's opulence, in summer's fecundity. He has never done with his delights. His delights, his ecstasy, his happiness never ends. He's never finished. For when tired out with fun, he rests at ease beneath some pleasant feet. This grasshopper, when he is tired with happiness, he rests at ease. He comfortably takes rest beneath some pleasant weed, weed or wild growth of trees. So the music of summer is carried by the grasshopper. When all the songbirds take rest or seems to become silent in the very adverse situation of the scorching heat of summer. So Keats says that, the poetic voice of the poem says that, I will not say Keats says that, the poetic voice of the poem says that when all the songbirds are taking rest and they hide in cooling trees, cool shade of trees, when it seems that the music of earth has stopped, grasshopper takes the lead in reviving the song or music of nature. So this is all about the first stanza, right? This first stanza talks of the summer season and the grasshopper as the singer of the summer season. All right. Now the second stanza, the poetry of art is ceasing never, The poetry of art is ceasing, stopping never. On a lone wind, and this statement is illustrated, is proved by exemplification, by the example of a cricket singing in a very bleak, tranquil, bleak and silent setting. On a lone winter evening, on a lonely winter evening, when the frost has wrought silence, when the ice, for the drop of ice has wrought silence, when the extreme cold has created silence, has created almost the absence of sound, from the stove, from the hearth. Stove here means hearth. From the stove, from the hearth, fireplace. From the stove, from the hearth, there shrills the cricket song. There comes the cricket song. This cricket song is in warmth increasing ever. It is ever increasing, in ever increasing warmth. As the warmth of the stove or the fireplace increases, the intensity, the sound, the piercing sound of the cricket increases. So with the increase of the warmth, the sound of the cricket increases. And this song of cricket, this trilling of cricket, this chirping of cricket seems to warn, this song of the cricket seems to warn, this is nondescript pronoun. It may suggest any person or the poet, poetic persona, and seems to warn the poetic persona, and seems to warn to a person or the poet himself in drowsing at half lost, who is half lost in his drowsiness, in his sleep, the grasshoppers among some grassy hills. So the cricket song seems to be the song of the grasshopper, which is singing among the grassy hills. So the cycle of nature completes. It begins with the summer season, and it also ends with the summer seasons. It begins with the grasshopper. It also ends with the grasshopper. So the cyclical nature nature continues in terms of music here. So music never stops in every situation, be it the scorching heat of sun or the bleak winter evening. Mother Earth is always vibrant, always full of music. Sweet music is always full of vitality. So this is the theme of the poem. But behind this apparent meaning of the poem, many critics have found different interpretations. They suggest that the grasshopper and cricket, are the lesser known poets. They symbolize the lesser known poets, and the birds are the well known celebrated poets of any time. And the winter and summer seasons symbolizes the difficult, adverse situations of our life. But whatever the situations, nature always provides us hope and optimism in every kind of circumstances, in every kind of hopelessness. Nature gives us hope. So this is all about the theme and the different kind of interpretation that the critics have found out. While I was studying this, reading this poem, I have found some theory related. Some theory of Keats' poem can also be related to this poem also. Though this poem was written in 1816, and this kind of theory can be found in Keats' later odes, Ode to a Nightingale and Ode on a Grecian Urn, but his theory is here, I think, in an embryo form, and the phrase like half lost. So the person who is in drowsing and half lost, to a person, the person who is in a state of drowsiness, in a state of sleep, half sleep, the cricket song seems to him the grasshopper songs. So he is in doubt. He cannot clearly specify which song he is listening to. So this is the negative capability which later on Keats talks about, and which usually found in Keats' Ode on a Grecian Urn. Negative capability, Keats says, that is a kind of a situation in which a person can be is able to remain in a state of indeterminacy, in a state of doubt, in a state of kind of a mystery. So the person remaining here in a state of doubt about whether he is listening to the cricket song or the grasshopper songs, I think is a kind of embryo of the theory of Keats' negative capability, which he has found so exclusively in Shakespeare's poem. Shakespeare's poem is also we found here. And if you think of some of the poetic devices that we find here, poetic devices, for example, you will find a lot of personifications. For example, the poetry of art is never dead. So poetry has been personified, linking it or comparing it to a human being, right? And then another example is there. He takes rest. The grasshopper takes rest. He takes the lead. This is also another example of grasshopper is being compared to a human being, to a person's. So another example of personifications. A lot of personifications are there. Another significant personification is can be found in the line, the frost has not silence. Frost is being compared to a person who has created silence all over, as if by magic. Another figure of speech you'll find in this particular phrase, warmth increasing ever. You'll find the warmth noun here. Increasing is adjective. Instead of placing adjective before the noun, Keats places increasing adjective after the noun. So the actual phrase, if in a prose order, you will find this kind of expression: in ever increasing warmth. So this kind of the change of word order is kind of a hyperbaton. Change of syntax is called anatroph. You will find anatroph here. Another technique, poetic technique, or rhetorical technique, example of rhetoric you will find here is on a lone winter evening. This is an example of apocryph. Here, lonely, instead of lonely, Keats has dropped the syllable ly here and used lone. This is an example of apocryph. So personifications, and you will find a lot of sensuous imagery, for which Keats is so famous, and his poetry, his romantic poetry, is famous for his sensuous imagery. You will find a lot of sensuous imagery in other words. For example, in Grecian Urn to Autumn, in Ode to Autumn, and Ode to Melancholy, you will find a beautiful, delicious imagery of the birds being fainted, being very exhausted with the hot sun. You can visualize the picture of the birds as if they are fainting, they are swooning, they are becoming exhausted. This is an example of beautiful imagery, sensuous imagery. And also you will find a beautiful imagery of a person sleeping by the fireside. Now about the structure and rhythm and the rhyme scheme of the poem, you will find that this poem has 14 lines. If you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 line poems, and it is written in a particular rhyme scheme. You'll find here in a particular meter. You'll find here this meter from hedge to hedge about the new moon made. So every second syllable is stressed. This kind of meter is called iambic meter, and we have 5 iambs here. So this is written in iambic pentameter, which is a typical picture of any sonnet, be it Shakespearean sonnet or Petrarchan sonnet. But Keats' the poetry of art is a Petrarchan sonnet, which means that it has 14 lines, but these poems are divided into 2 stanzas. 2 stanzas are there. First 8-line stanzas we call octave. We'll say first 8 line weed from hot sun, right? Weed. So first 8 lines are called octave, and the next 6 lines from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next 6 lines are called sestet. So there is a octave and sestet division here, as in a typical Petrarchan sonnet. And you will find in Petrarchan sonnet, in any kind of sonnet, a very serious issues is being dealt here. You will find the issues of nature's capacity to give us joy. And I think behind the music of nature, there is a delicate, subtle message that that nature has a delicate rhythm, rhythm, and we should not tamper with that kind of rhythm. Possibly Keats has in mind the industrial revolutions which threatens to disrupt this delicate rhythm, the balance of natures. So nature has a beautiful balance, a delicate rhythm, which poet is trying to convey through the particular image of the grasshoppers and the cricket. And if you think of the rhyme scheme on the mill, you'll find here the rhyme scheme is here in the octave as always: A B B A, A B A, for example, A B date, made, sun, run, lead, dead, made. So A B B A, Abba. Next 4 lines also A B B A, and so A B B A, sorry, A B B A, Abba, and next, right? A B B A, yes, right. A B B A. Next 4 lines also A B B A, and now in this state you will find the rhyme pattern is C D C D. Here of course C D C D, but there are different variations to this rhyme scheme in this state. And as typical of a Petrarchan sonnet, you will find after the 8 lines there is a change of thought, which you will find here, which is the special punctuation mark, which is called caesura, and this change of thought is called volta. You will find that in the first line the poet was talking about the grasshopper and the summer seasons, and the grasshopper taking the lead after the birds have taken rest, retired to their shelters. So he was talking about the summer season. Here he was talking about summer season, but in the third state he is talking about the winter season and the crickets taking the lead. So there is a change of setting, the change of theme, a delicate change of theme, but the central message is there. Central message is that the music of art never stops. So this is all about the technicalities that we will find here. The basic question that is very often asked in different exams is, how does Keats establish the view that the music of art or the poetry of art never continues? This is the basic questions that is always being asked, that is often been asked in exams and other topics like describe the setting of the summer seasons or when the grasshopper sings, or the setting of the winter seasons when the cricket sings. These are questions, these are the favorite questions with the examiner, and hopefully you have liked the video. Thank you very much for listening so patiently.